back, BraveNation. Students and employees and faculty tell me all the time, UNCP, this is going to be hard, folks. UNCP feels like a family. And that is more true today than ever before. You know, around here, whenever people meet a person, a new person, they often ask the question, who's your people? The implication is simply that if you know the person's family, you probably can tell something about the person you're meeting. Who's your people? Although many of us were separated over the past 11 days, we had a shared experience that has brought us closer together. All along the way, we looked out for each other, and we looked out for those in need, for our campus as well as those out in the community. I want to take a few minutes this morning to reflect as we return to campus to start the process of getting back to normal. But first, we all realize that for some of you, life won't return to normal for quite some time. I heard a story this morning about one of our employees who was yet to be able to get back to her house to check it. UNCP students, employees, alumni, and friends have lost their loved ones, they've lost their homes, they've lost their belongings. We must continue supporting each other. I've heard stories of brave family members sharing their homes, providing food and clothing. And there are still some of us who still need those essentials like shelter and food and clothing. Others need counseling, and some of those needs are available through the university, and we will continue to communicate with you about how you can receive assistance. We understand if your basic human needs aren't met, you can't focus on learning, and you can't focus on doing your job. Just as before and during the storm, the well-being of our students and our employees remains the top priority for this university. As it approached the Atlantic coast, my cabinet and the university's Emergency Operations Committee was focused on Hurricane Matthew. Based on the storm's projected eastward track, emergency officials underestimated the storm's impact for us. But Matthew had other ideas, and instead of running along the coast as predicted, he came inland. Unfortunately, like thousands of people throughout our region, students who remained on our campus found themselves without power. And I know this was uncomfortable, and I know it was inconvenient, and I know you were scared. We posted a guard in each dorm, and we intensified our communication to make sure people knew what was going on. But our students are resourceful, they're resilient, and yes, they're brave. And thanks to our incredible staff who put the needs of this campus ahead of even the needs of their own family, our students were never in danger, and they were always secure. There are so many examples. Dining staff prepared sandwiches for students who couldn't get to the cafeteria, and our police officers waded through water to deliver those meals to our residence halls. We prepared over 2,300 hot meals. We prepared over 900 boxed lunches. A UNCP officer drove students to meet their parents in Lumberton when they could not get to their kids, and he dodged blocked roads all along the way, taking 2 hours to get there. A faculty member brought containers of gas so students could get home. Staff used generators to set up a cell phone charging station so students could stay in touch with their families. Senior leadership met twice a day throughout the storm and in the days since and even today, even when they personally had no power and no water. Our goal was to make sure that every student got home or to a place of safety and food and shelter and care. Our great DeWitt staff worked throughout the night to make sure that we could communicate with each of you through our website and through email. Even though she had a foot of water in her home, an HR staff member came to work so you could get your paycheck. Look at our beautiful campus. Our grounds folks have worked tirelessly. I see them already putting up the banners back that they took down before the storm. They've worked so hard so that when our students came back, when you came back today, you would find your beautiful campus like it was in the past. For these and for countless untold stories of dedication, please join me in a round of applause for our employers. As UNCP supported our students, we found ourselves on the receiving end of an outpouring of generosity from across the state. The town of Pembroke called and said, "We've got gas. We happened to top off our tanks before this came along. Do you guys need gasoline?" We took them up on that offer. Sodexo at NC Central University provided a supply of food for our dining hall. We also received donations from Piggly Wiggly, from the Wing Company, and from Pembroke Volunteer Fire Department. Let me say that Sodexo has performed as a true friend during this time, and we so appreciate them. Called and they housed some of our international students over the fall break. UNC President Margaret Spellings offered the full support and cooperation of General Administration as well as our other sister 16 campuses. Governor Pat McCrory landed his helicopter on our football field so he could see the Robeson County recovery efforts firsthand. And he pledged to me the state's full commitment to the full recovery of this university, but importantly, to our region, to our county. Wingate University provided a practice facility for our football team, and Scotland High generously hosted our game this past Saturday, which, by the way, we won. As Coach Shane Richardson cried with his team as they talked about rising above their circumstances and how they played a game and they won that game for themselves. They won it for this university. They won it for this region. And he was so proud of his team. The Carolina Hurricanes provided security to take the strain off of our local law enforcement. And so these are just some of the ways that UNCP has been embraced. And for all of these ways, and many, many more, we are so appreciative. But we quickly realized that this university was blessed with more resources than other parts of this county, which fared far worse in the storm's aftermath. So in keeping with UNCP's core value of service, we extended our hands out to those in need. Late Monday night, our staff loaded a FEMA vehicle. You saw the pictures with boxed meals so first responders stranded in Lumberton tried to get here, could not get here, could get something to eat, and took the food to them. Our dining hall fed members of the community who didn't have anywhere else to go to eat. We used university connections to help restock the town's propane supply, which was reaching critically low levels. We coordinated with Robeson County Emergency Operations Center to direct a mobile emergency room and other resources where they were needed most. We sent our student health services staff to help at emergency centers. We washed hundreds of towels used by evacuees at a local shelter. And we continue to house members of the National Guard and first responders in our auxiliary gym. You saw the ambulances, you saw the trucks, and they will be there for another while. I ask you to bear with us for this inconvenience. This is the least we can do to support these folks who have left their families in order to come here and support us. Just last night, UNCP agreed with Tommy Lowry, superintendent of the public schools of Robeson County, which has been so completely devastated by Matthew, to allow them to use some of our facilities for the months ahead as they rebuild to house their administrative staff. If you've seen where their administrative staff lives, you've seen the devastation there. And why I am pleased that our university has been able to help as an institution, it really is what you folks are doing as individuals that makes me most proud. Tuesday, I visited the emergency shelter set up at Purnell Sweat High School, just a few miles from here. You know, as a heart surgeon, I've certainly interacted with plenty of people who were scared, and they were full of despair, and they were looking for hope. But I don't think I've ever been in a place where I saw so many people who were looking for hope, looking for help. There were people of all ages, ranging from babies to the elderly, all forced from their homes and packed into a high school gymnasium. These were people who went to sleep last night and woke up, and now their lives are different. Looking around that room, he wanted to cry, and there certainly are many reasons to cry. But then I saw a brave family. I saw the students and employees who had rolled up their sleeves and had taken it upon themselves to lend a helping hand in the shelter. They were bagging donated clothes, and they were helping people find shoes. One lady comes out and says, "Who needs a pair of size 12 shoes?" And the line formed. Size 12 shoes. I didn't think that many people had them. And serving lunch to hundreds of people who had nothing to begin with, and now they had even less. And they were taking blood pressure, and they were giving medications, and on and on and on. I saw a brave family at work. And I know that there are countless examples of service that have occurred in Pembroke and Lumberton and across this region. And whether you helped deliver meals, donated items to a shelter, contributed to a relief fund, cleared debris for a neighbor, held someone's hand, no matter what you did, you made BraveNation proud. And some of you will continue to make that difference today through volunteering. There will be additional ways to help in the days and the weeks to come. Christy Poteet has done what Christy Poteet does. She saw a need. We're going to be sharing details about a special scholarship that we're setting up to help our students, because we're hearing about students who lost their books, and I need help to buy books if I'm going to finish this semester. They lost their computer. They lost clothing. We're focused on maximizing student success, and in order for students to succeed, we have to help them overcome the personal challenges that now stand in their way. We're also establishing a relief fund for UNCP and employees and faculty, because we know that you're hurt. We know that some of you, again, have lost your home. You've lost everything. Every cent that will be donated will benefit our faculty and staff members in need. Any amount contributed will go to help those who are hurting and looking for a way forward. In closing, we talk a lot about our mission, about changing lives through education. Over the past 11 days, the lives of many of our students and employees have been profoundly impacted. For them, this is a critical time. For them, their lives, their frame of reference now, forever, for the rest of their life will be before the storm and after the storm. This disaster has the potential to derail dreams, to derail visions, to derail ambitions. UNCP cannot allow that to happen, and we will not allow that to happen, because this is where people come to vision, this is where people come to dreams, and where dreams come true. We're going to stand by you people. We're going to make this happen. UNCP does, in fact, change lives through education, and now there are even more lives who are counting on me and on you and on us. Be focused, be strong, be brave. I am so very, very proud of this place, and I'm proud of every one of you. Go forth and do good. Hey, who's your people? We are the brave family, and you can tell who we are by our actions, by what we do. On 3. 1, 2, 3, go Braves! Go Braves! 1, 2, 3, go Braves! Go Braves! 1, 2, 3, go Braves! Go Braves! Logan.
Hello, everybody. It's hard to follow that up. Beautiful speech, Chancellor Cummings. New York is a lot different than Pembroke. It's far away, and it has a culture that's a little bit less hey y'all and a little bit more looking down at the ground. But there was a day that we all know that changed that culture for a short time. And it didn't change it forever. between September 11th and about Thanksgiving time of 2001, New York was a different place. You see, the thing about New York is that every day people walk on the street and it's crowded. You bump into each other, shoulder to shoulder. And because of this, New Yorkers create a mental space that they can't have physically. They look down, they don't say hello, they don't ask how you're doing. New York is a different place than Pembroke. But for those few months, they did that. Following the events of 9/11, anyone you ask who was in New York will tell you it was a different city. And it was a different city in another way. One thing you don't hear often in the news is that the jet fuel burned for months, and the smell of the city, people thought it would never go away. People would leave their homes or apartments in the morning and burst in tears, reminded of what had happened. And one famous New Yorker said, it was when the gas went away that our humanity did. Folks, the floodwaters are starting to recede. The visible damage may not be what it was a few days ago. But our caring, our love, and our support for each other cannot stop, and it won't, because, as the Chancellor said, this is not how our community operates. Our community is a family. In the Gospel of Matthew, we receive the story of Jesus mastering the storm. Folks, this is our storm, and we will master it. We won't master it by walking on water, though I wish some of us probably could during the storm. We'll master it through simple acts of kindness, through untold stories of character, through the love and mutual support that makes Pembroke what it is. I have the honor, as a student here, of being a guest in this community, as being someone who's not from this region, not from this area. And the love that I have seen between all members of this community is not something you can replicate elsewhere. And we may be one of the poorest counties in the country, and Lumberton may be one of the poorest cities around. But we're rich in spirit. We're rich in love. We're rich in family. The things that we need most in a time like this. Because, folks, for every donation you make, it's not the item you're giving, it's the person who gives it. Brothers, sisters, Brave Nation, we're going to master this storm, and we're going to do it together. Thank you.
I so wish Logan would learn to speak in front of people. This kid's great. Thank you, Logan, for your thoughtful remarks. Our students are so fortunate to have you as their leader. So we want to end today's ceremony by singing our alma mater, Hail to UNCP. I'd be most appreciative of the faculty and staff members who spontaneously did this before would spontaneously come up now and do it again. And if you're here, the words will be on the screen. Please sing with us. Welcome home, Brave Nation. Welcome home.
Yes, I know, right? It will be.
Everything's okay. Chancellor's residence is okay. Great people.
Thank you, Megan.
I know it was under the cottage. Okay, I thought about that. I thought that.